the early morning session, we saw Ruchi Soya was going on, listing after the massive controversy of the FPO, and then the RBI policy, which everybody was keeping fingers crossed on whether whether RBI will actually bite the bullet, raise the rates, but that hasn't happened, thankfully. And perhaps is that the reason why the markets are cheering?
I guess so. It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? After we saw a little bit of tepid trade and perhaps nervousness ahead of the policy. Today, markets closed actually higher after initially processing. They processed the news. Actually, if you remember, they actually dipped, but they've closed higher for the day. So I guess they've thought that, okay, at least those rates haven't been hiked right now. Right? So perhaps let's just go with it for the moment. I mean, remember the RBI in its tonality is still being accommodative. So while they've given hawkish signals, indicating what's to come, flagged off concerns, really mentioned, that GDP is going to be hit, which was a big
reduced the GDP forecast to 7.2%. That's a big gap down from 7.8%. Talk about inflation that has been hiked quite a lot from 4.5% to 5.7%. Look at the kind of jump that they've done, and the markets are still okay with it.
The markets, I think, for the moment are just breathing easy that the hike hasn't come in yet. But this is a situation that's not going to be avoidable. We know globally as well, the environment has been leading to rate hikes across the board. In the market or the ecosystem overall, we're already starting to see rates going higher. And inflation, of course, is a big concern. And with crude where it is, the RBI is going to really have no choice but to press the button on hikes very soon.
Yes, and they have said that they are penciling in $100 per barrel kind of a crude for the next some time. And of course, the good part, I think, was out of the policy that RBI said that, we're not going to be following any textbook. Come what may, we are going to be supporting the economy, and we're going to do all what it takes to push growth at this point in time. So perhaps those signals coming through for sure for the, aiding the sentiments in the markets. We also saw, let me just quickly just update all the viewers about how the closing action was. So the Sensex was up 412 points. It ended 0.7% up at 59,447. Good close for this week entirely. Nifty also was up 144 points, 17,784. Tad bit below that 17,800 psychological mark, but still quite good if you see. One stock that I want to ask you about, like ITC. Then again jumped 4%, and it's been
a fantastic move coming in on ITC.
After that slow move in the last 2 years. What's pushing the stock higher, and I'm sure all those who've been waiting for the final move on ITC are very happy about it. But what do you think about it?
I think it's been a long time coming, this time around. In fact, it's been steadily rising now for about 5 sessions, and it was actually at its 52-week high today as well. So we're definitely starting to see that momentum build in ITC. If we take a look at perhaps some of the factors at play right now, it is diversified, of course, from cigarette to hotels. Right now, it's got 78% market share in cigarettes and presence across a whole variety of staples. Some reports are saying that they're looking at a trend reversal now for the stock. So maybe there is something there that the market is reacting to. And they're also looking at volumes when it comes to cigarettes starting to build up as well. So I guess reports are anticipating some kind of a turnaround in ITC, and maybe that's really what the markets are factoring in.
Well, people are smoking too much, I think, at this point in time, or maybe they're traveling too much because it has the hotel business too, or more and more offices starting. Your paper consumption is increasing. So like you said, diversified business perhaps helping aid the sentiment. But all those investors who've been waiting patiently, very, very good move for you to see. Let's see how long does it really put up, and go forward from here on. Sectorally speaking, we did see a lot of green in the FMCG space today, metals, power, oil and gas, all of them up by 1 to 2%. The broader markets also reflecting the kind of move on the benchmarks, up by 1% on mid-cap and small-cap indices. Going forward from here, how do you anticipate? Of course, this week has been very, very volatile. 2 or 3 days completely down, and then rest of them up. How do you see going forward from here the markets will shape up?
Well, the big one is actually now we're heading into earnings season. So next week it's going to be all about earnings and what Q really, is set by the leading tech majors. We're going to kick off with TCS on Tuesday night.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see, because after all of the heavy news in this last quarter when it came to the war and to crude prices and inflation. And, on the macro level, it'll be interesting to really get down to earnings and to profitability and because that's really where the race is going to be going forward.
Absolutely. And it's going to be critical because we know that because in this last 2 or 3 odd months, we've seen because of the Ukraine-Russia crisis and the commodity prices going up, crude prices going up, the margins are going to be hit. How are the earnings going to protect the margins this time around? All of that picture will get cleared up with most management commentaries on how do they plan to really, perhaps pass it on to consumers and how do they want to protect their profitability. That will be key. So management commentaries, and Abha, you will be taking a lot of interviews. So do stay tuned on to Business Today to catch all those Q4 highlights of the companies as they kickstart. TCS, Infosys, the first ones right up next. Although it is going to be a truncated one, 2 holidays. So we're going to get an extended holiday next week for sure. Absolutely. So hope you have a good weekend and hope all our viewers also have a great weekend. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll keep getting back with all the market updates and the D Street Buzz for all of you. Thanks a lot for tuning in.